Hello, this is Tony Hiller from RealClimateScience.com, the climate guy setting the record straight about climate. This video is about the newly released latest version of the National Climate Assessment. There's a huge number of problems with this document, but in this video I'm just going to focus on this one page. This page says that record warm daily temperatures are occurring more often in the United States. If you've been following my research, you know that that's simply not true. Let's look at what they did wrong. Note that their graph directly contradicts the text up above it. The text says the 1930s remains the peak period for extreme heat in the United States, very high confidence. Yet the graph below it shows the 1930s as being a very cool period. How does peer review allow this sort of utter garbage to get through? So the bad news for climate alarmists is that I have software which can generate the actual graph. Let's look at what they did. This is their graph on the left and the actual graph on the right, which I generated. Their graph is more or less correct after 1970, but they've removed all the hot weather prior to 1970, which you see in the real graph. And it's important to note that NOAA does not adjust daily temperatures, so they can't use that as an excuse for their fraudulent graph over here. Their graph is titled Record Daily Temperatures Occurring More Often. This is simply not true. The number of record daily maximum temperatures peaked in the U.S. in the 1930s, and they've plummeted since then. The National Climate Assessment graph is wildly fraudulent. And not only have record maximum temperatures plummeted in the U.S., but record minimum temperatures have plummeted too. The U.S. climate is getting milder, not more extreme. We have fewer extremes of heat and fewer extremes of cold than we used to. This graph plots record maximums in red and record minimums in blue. You can see that they've both declined tremendously in the U.S. since 1930. So what caused the big spikes in 2012 and 2016? Well, this is a classic divide by zero error. When you have a very small number in the denominator, ratios become unstable. In fact, if the number in the denominator is zero, the ratio will go up to infinity. So over here on the right, where we have very low numbers of record minimums, we get very large spikes in the ratios. These numbers are mathematically meaningless. Again, how does this sort of scientific garbage make its way through peer review? Now let's compare the fake National Climate Assessment graph on the right, which shows the 1930s being very cool, versus the EPA heat wave graph on the left, which shows that the 1930s was by far the hottest decade in the United States. One of the key people in this report was Katherine Hayhoe of Texas Tech University. I've analyzed her work lots of times, and it's consistently complete garbage, just like this study. Government-funded climate science is the biggest fraud in science history. Visit Toto on the web at realclimatescience.com. He's been pulling back the curtain on junk science for a long time.